Healthcare conferences throughout the world continue discussions on the importance of supporting the front line in problem solving. We hear it all the time. Upside-down pyramids showcase the idea of improvement starting from the front line, with projects then being supported by leadership. Everyone can be a problem solver is commonly advertised. Although the principle makes sense and sounds altruistic, it is difficult to execute effectively, and I would say even respectfully. Frontline teams are busy managing their day-to-day challenges and have limited time to focus on improvement. To make it harder, there is far less time dedicated to improving the work than the time dedicated to managing it. Common approaches to engaging the frontline include daily huddles, visibility boards, idea cards, and yet the struggle continues. What actually works in supporting the frontline to do improvement? Need we evolve? Upon careful observation of work at many institutions, I and a few of my colleagues would like to share 3 main drivers to effective frontline problem solving. Here they are. Number 1, the first one is problem triage. When walking into new clinical areas, I often look for this. Does the area triage problems, or do they treat them all the same? Much like complex patients being triaged in the emergency department, complex problems cannot be addressed without effective problem triage. They should be assessed before moving forward as projects. Here's an easy way to do the triage. Some problems are strawberries. Easy fixes you can grab a hold of and bite into right away. Don't wait on these or try to apply A3 problem solving or some other method. Just do it. As a leader, watch for these and be decisive in addressing them quickly. Other problems are bananas. Easy to hold on to, but do require some peeling. These will require a few days to complete, and you may be able to use a daily huddle to report out on progress. These usually involve 2 different teams or 2 different disciplines. We then have pineapples. These are tougher to crack, but with the right tools we can solve them. These problems usually have more than 2 teams or roles involved and will require weeks to fix. Use a weekly report out venue to report out on progress. Do not use huddles. A good problem solving method will help cut through this tough outer layer quickly. The last type are pomegranates. Have you ever cut into one of these? They're hard to open, and once you do, they're made up of hundreds of seeds that squirt red juice all over you if you're not careful. Pomegranates represent the problems with many diverse teams or disciplines that bring diverse opinions, biases, and even incentives on how the problem should be solved. Do not use huddles to report out on these, and even weekly report out venues may be too frequent. Use monthly quality councils, training programs, or similar venues to bring the complex group of people together. Evidence-based improvement methods are a must for these situations. The problem may need to be scoped down even to smaller chunks in order to see any improvement. This fruity model can be a helpful and approachable guide to triaging problems. Please use it as such and not as the end-all decision maker. Also know that using it doesn't require a meeting. It's more of a cultural behavior. Just discuss it quickly. Here's an example. An MRI tech notices that when patients arrive from the unit for an MRI exam, the pre-exam checklist is not filled out, and therefore the MRI is delayed in getting started, or the patient has to even be sent back to the unit. Let's triage this problem. First, how many teams are involved? This affects the radiology team, the inpatient units where the patients are admitted, and the transporters who bring the patient over. Second, what is the estimated time frame needed to solve it? Well, we may have to update the checklist, also gain consensus across the inpatient units and radiology to how the checklist is used, and transporters may be impacted. This will take at least a few weeks. And third, what is its urgency? We need to get this done very soon as the MRI scanner is at capacity and we can't afford to have wait times due to inconsistent checklists. I would call this problem a pineapple. It involves 3 different stakeholder groups and will take at least weeks to solve. Therefore, the project should have a weekly project report out. Because it is urgent, it may be prioritized to start sooner than later. Now, what if the team treated this like a banana and decided to use the daily huddle to address it? For example, the MRI tech raises the problem, the leader writes it on their huddle board as an issue, and they follow up daily on progress. The result is this. The issue would then remain on the board for days and even weeks with no resolution. The MRI tech then disengages in solving it, and the rest of the team loses faith in the organization's ability to solve problems. You may have experienced this and know how painful it can be. Daily huddles cannot be used to solve problems that will take weeks or months. And on the flip side, issues that can be solved in a few hours should not be escalated to a monthly quality council. Again, the method of report out should match the complexity of the problem. The last point I will make on problem triage is this. As a leader, you will have to be disciplined in deciding which problems to address and which problems to postpone or even dismiss. Many have found a pick chart helpful for this. These are simple 2x2 matrices with impact on one axis and effort on the other. Making this visual for your team can be helpful in understanding your decisions as a leader. The second driver needed to effectively support frontline problem solving is fair accountability. As leaders, we need to understand that frontline teams often don't feel they have been given the authority to solve their daily work problems. Let me take you back to the 1930s movie The Wizard of Oz, where we find a similar sentiment. Dorothy and her friends travel the yellow brick road and search for the wizard to solve their problems. In the end, though, they find there was no magical solution. The wizard is a fraud. But it turns out, with a little direction, they find they already had what they wished for. This is something they realized once their environment changed from feeling like victims of their problems to feeling accountable. This is on you as a leader to facilitate this mindset shift. But before you jump, let me share with you a key difference from the movie. Dorothy and her companions just needed some direction to realize they need not be victims of their problems. As a leader of a complex healthcare team, you have to do more than that. Simply telling your teams to not be victims and be accountable will not work. In fact, it'll be disrespectful, to say the least. Authors Smith and Rickman wrote a book about this called The Oz Principle and broke down the true definition of accountability as being able to see a problem, own it, have the knowledge to solve it, and the support to do it. If we look at the common frontline tools of our days, we see why frontline teams will undoubtedly feel more like victims of problems at work instead of feeling accountable to solve them. For example, we tell the frontline to bring problems to huddle. We put the idea on the board so it looks like someone owns it. But who is helping them get the knowledge to solve it? And how are they supported in doing it? These two key accountability elements are often missing. So here's what you need to do. To have the knowledge to solve problems, teams need shared, evidence-based improvement methods and people to go to for coaching. As a leader, you can make this happen. Choose a structured problem-solving method like the one shown here. Use it yourself and ask your teams to use it as they solve problems. Couple this shared method with accessible training, such as the videos in this series. Then create the project report out venue, such as a weekly report out, where you are protecting their time and your time to engage in the work. When teams see tangible evidence of this support, all four elements of fair accountability, believe me, they will volunteer to solve problems, and your workload as a leader will decrease.
I think with the engagement and support of leadership, we've been able to negotiate to make and support and protect the time for frontline staff to participate in the program. So the structure of the program is such that there's a weekly 30-minute meeting. So all teams come to that 30-minute check-in. That check-in time is supported by the operational leadership for providers and for medical assistants and other staff members who are participating. And so everybody has that common time protected from their other responsibilities. That makes their participation feasible. I think fair accountability is so important, and it's critical to the success of the program. Because if the frontline teams didn't feel supported, truly supported and empowered to do the work, and they didn't feel that they were given the tools that they needed to be successful and the recognition for the time and the work that they put in, I don't think that the program would be sustainable. We wouldn't be able to engage future project teams to do the work, because it would probably be something that turned into an extra to do on top of what they were already, of the many tasks that are already being asked to complete.
Supporting the frontline staff in the improvement process or standard work, I really feel clinically as a nurse is we have to go out there and assess the problem. And how about a way to assess a problem with the frontline team? They're the one who's doing the nitty-gritty work. They're the one who's doing the hard work. I can't go in there and say, this is gonna fix your problem. They need to tell me, they need to talk to me and let me know. I find that extremely important, because early on in my career, I always felt like because I was a leader, I had to fix everything. I felt like it was my job to go there and fix the problem. But the crazy thing was, I made it harder probably for some of them. I made it harder thinking I was fixing the problem, or I couldn't sustain it because I'm not doing the work frontline. I'm not doing the important work every single day, their engagement with the patients or the providers. And so I felt, as I've been doing this for a very long time, my gosh, they probably want to fix their own problem. They need me to give them the tools and materials and support, protected time, whatever they need, because they're the one who has to kind of give me the feedback, the suggestions, the insight, so that we can actually work on this together.
And I think that improvement mindset is incredibly contagious. It's something where I think you can start to foster it, and then it catches on, like you described. The different people see the projects and they see how people are able to actually affect real change in a system, and it's empowering and it's exciting. And I think as a leader, when you think about the culture of your frontline workers, I think talking about how you can really foster, or you can use an improvement program as a tool of fostering a sense of empowerment and a sense of excitement and enthusiasm for and what you're doing in your workspace. I think to me as a leader, that would be pretty enticing.
Okay, we've now reviewed 2 of the 3 main drivers for engaging the frontline in problem solving. First, if you ask the frontline to solve problems, ensure it is fair. This is on you as a leader to create this. Ensure they not only can see the problems, but also have the space to own them, the knowledge to solve them, and support structures to do them. And second, some problems are strawberries and others are pomegranates. Problems vary in complexity. Create daily, weekly, and monthly report outs where you are present as a leader and your frontline team can be supported in doing improvement work. The third and final driver is this: establish practices for closing projects and recognizing those involved in a formal way. When someone from the front line has engaged in solving a team problem, they've done so by giving more of themselves, being vulnerable, and putting in some extra work. Recognize them, calculate the benefits of their projects, and share the key learnings of their work in a public forum. In doing so, you will help others want to follow in their footsteps. Those are the 3 drivers needed to engage frontline teams. Best of luck as you apply them in your areas.